What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and welcome back to another video in the series of my season recaps. This time we're doing the San Francisco 49ers, the second team in draft order. I'm going to be doing all 32 teams. Bear with me for, as many days as this takes, but I'm trying to do this in like 32 days or something like that, or 33 days, 34 days, something like that. You may see a break in between just so I can record and write down everything, because I got all the information here on one page each, because I did not want to use 2 pages, so I got all my information, trying to fit it as much as I can in one page. I'm going to start off with the San Francisco 49ers, the second team in draft order. We did the Arizona Cardinals already. I have the link to the playlist in the description or something like that, and you guys can go through the whole playlist and things like that, or just go to my channel profile and you'll see the playlist there. The San Francisco 49ers. Now listen, everybody thought that with Jimmy Garoppolo there, at the time he was like one of the highest paid quarterbacks there. He still is, probably 4th highest right now. Everybody thought that he would be the one to change this team around and hopefully get this team in a winning direction. And you know what? They were on a promising start. They started off week 1 against the Minnesota Vikings. Everybody knew that they would lose that game, but I, for one, was one of the people that was like, listen, San Francisco will keep this close. They are a better team with Jimmy Garoppolo there, and Minnesota's a decent team, but I think it will be an even matchup. And for the most part, it was. They lost 24-16. Minnesota looked pretty good on offense and defense, as we all know, and Jimmy Garoppolo scored 16 points, not as much as you would think, but Minnesota still had a very good defense. Now, Minnesota did fall a little bit, and they weren't playing as well as they were. But San Francisco was still able to compete, and they were off to a promising start. And then we look at San Francisco in week 2, and they come out and beat the Detroit Lions 30-27, so we see the potential of the 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo under center. But then Jimmy Garoppolo goes down, and it's turmoil from there. CJ Beathard comes in, and CJ Beathard, to me, a lot of people thought he was a sleeper when he was drafted as a quarterback in the 3rd round or whatever, but I don't think he was all that good. And he showed that he's a decent backup, but he's not going to win you too many games. And then after a while, he goes down. And then Nick Mullens comes out of nowhere, the 49ers savior, as people thought that he would be when he dominated the Raiders. I believe that game was somewhere around like 30. It was 34-3. I wrote it down here as their best game. 34-3, and people thought that he was like the next quarterback or something like that. And then we had some Giants news. Should the Giants pursue Nick Mullens and everything? Like, it was ridiculous. But with that being said, San Francisco still remains one of the worst teams in the NFL for the past couple years now. But the 49ers have a lot of bright spots to them. Sure, they have a hole at quarterback, but Jimmy Garoppolo is coming back. The question is, can the guy stay healthy? But with that being said, you have your amazing tight end who you guys drafted, I believe, in the 5th round or something like that, 5th round pick, George Kittle. This is coming from the same class as David Njoku, the same class as Evan Ingram, and he wound up being the best tight end, and he was drafted way later. So congrats to the 49ers finding that gem in George Kittle. I mean, he's such an amazing pick for you guys, leading receiver, obviously, and he's going to be a great player for years to come. I'm glad that you guys found an offensive weapon, because you don't have a number 1 wide receiver, and that's something you definitely need to target here in this upcoming draft or free agency. But that's definitely a big hole for you guys there. But you do have a bright spot in tight end. Also, you have a bright spot in running back, Matt Brieda. Nobody really thought he would be anything, and he wound up, like, beginning of the season, leading the NFL in yards per carry, and he didn't even have much carries, and he was one of the leading rushers in the NFL, and he had like almost like half the carries as everybody else did, so he had a very good yards per carry. He wound up not getting as much snaps anymore, and then a couple other guys came in, like Marcell and stuff like that, but he got hurt, he broke his arm and things like that. But with that being said, you do have a lot of bright spots on this team, especially on the defensive side. You got Deforest Buckner as well, and we'll get into that in just a second. But you do have a lot of bright spots on this team. Your team isn't totally doomed. You just got to build around them. Solomon Thomas has really been struggling for you guys. That's something that he may be a bust for you. There's a lot of people saying that he's more suited to be a 3-4 outside linebacker, and in your 4-3 system that you're running right now, he's not going to fit that very well. And I kind of agree with that. I think if you put Solomon Thomas in a better situation, he can succeed. The thing is with Solomon Thomas, I mean, he can be an amazing talent. He hasn't done anything for you guys. He has 1 sack in his career. He's a decent to average run stuffer that everybody thought he would be a pretty good run stuffer than a pass rusher in the NFL just because of his college tape. He was phenomenal in stopping the run. But his pass rushing skills are just not there because he's just not in the right scheme. I think you have to put him in the right situation for Solomon Thomas to succeed. And this is the problem with drafting best player available in the draft, when coming in with that mindset, because a player could have a whole different scheme or run a whole different scheme that he's better suited for, and you have a whole different scheme where you're at, and you draft the player and he doesn't succeed and he's called a bust, but you guys really didn't draft right. That's the problem with drafting best player available. Solomon Thomas is a pure example of that. So let's get on to the team stats. Their finishing record was 4-12. Their best game was versus the Raiders, 34-3, and then their worst game was against the Seattle Seahawks when they lost 43-16. So offensively, they're scoring 21.4 points a game. That's 21st in the league. Their yards per game are 360.6, 16th in the league. Passing wise, they're okay. They're right there in the middle, 241 passing yards, and rushing 13th in the league with 118. So that's not too bad. But like I said, offensively, they can get better. They could get better scoring more points. But as far as yards go, I really don't see anything as really bad as far as their yards go. They're right there in the middle, 16th, 15th, and 13th in their respective yard categories. That's total offensive yards, passing, and rushing. Especially that you had a whole quarterback carousel going on with Jimmy Garoppolo, C.J. Beathard, and Nick Mullens. So the fact that you were able to stay pretty consistent on offense is a good sign, especially with the weapons you have there. Yes, you have George Kittle, who's a beast, but you don't really have anybody at receiver besides your Pierre Garçon, who's entering his 12th league in the league, 12th year in the league right now. And then you got Marcus Goodwin, who can just run in a straight line. Dante Pettis can be promising for you guys, but you need some more weapons there, and the fact that you were able to stay at least mediocre in those categories is pretty promising. So, pretty good there. Defensively, not very good as far as points per game. You're giving up 27.2 points per game. That's 28th in the league. You're 13th in the NFL in yards, which is not bad. You got it. Mediocre is fine for somebody that's drafting, second overall. Mediocre is fine. That's a good start. At least you're not, all the way in the back where you're like terrible in the league in every category like the Arizona Cardinals were. Offensively and defensively, they were almost a dead last, and offensively they were dead last in everything. So when you look at the San Francisco 49ers, they have the stats prove that they're not as bad as their record says they are. So I mean, offensively and defensively, they're pretty mediocre. They could have somewhere around a 6-10, 7-9 type of record, but they so happen to be 4-12. So against the pass, they're 11th, and against the run, they are 14th, so not too bad. But here's the bad thing: 25th in turnover ratio. So they're minus 25. That means they're giving away the ball a lot, and they're not taking away the ball. So I believe with this team, there was only 2 or 3 interceptions on this team. Ridiculous numbers right there. That is ridiculous numbers. You don't have a terrible secondary. It can be better, but just three interceptions is terrible. In fact, your leading interceptions leader is Antoine Exum and Jaquiski Tartt. And Jaquiski Tartt got hurt in this year. He only had 1 interception, and those were the leaders in that category. There was only 2 interceptions in the whole season for the 49ers. So we're gonna move on to the. By the way, they have $53 million in cap. I apologize for the last video for the Arizona Cardinals. I said they had $5.9 million in cap. I was looking at the 2018 salary cap. I wasn't looking at the 2019 salary cap. I was looking at the 2018 salary cap. But now I'm looking at the 2019 salary cap, so everything's all good. $53 million in cap they have, so they're able to work with something. They have a decent amount of money to make a lot of moves and sign players for cheap. You don't need to really overpay for players. Sign some decent free agents. They don't need to be the best of the best. There's not many crazy free agents in this free agent class, so don't expect to go big in this free agency. But just make some moves, fill up some holes, and you guys should be okay. Passing. Nick Mullens is leading you guys in passing with about 2,200 yards, 2,277. 64.2 completion percentage, 13 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, sacked 17 times, and a QBR of 90.8. What more can you get from what is he, a undrafted free agent, or was he drafted? I can't remember. And I think he has like 1 year of experience in the league. What more can you ask for that? He actually played pretty well. Nick Mullens is no way, shape, or form the savior for the 49ers or the savior for any other franchise, but he did very well for a backup quarterback. That's pretty much what he's going to be. And should Jimmy Garoppolo get hurt, I think you could lean on Nick Mullens again. CJ Beathard didn't put up too much numbers. 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Jimmy Garoppolo in his time with the 49ers didn't do much. 718 yards, 59.6 completion percentage, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Sacked 13 times in his short time there, so that was pretty bad with a 90 QBR. We look at rushing for the 49ers right now. Matt Brieda led the way. Before, I think he got hurt as well. 153 carries, 814 yards, 5.3 yards per carry, and 3 touchdowns. Did very well with his time there. I think he is the running back there after Carlos Hyde's departure. He is now the running back for the 49ers. I think he secured that spot pretty well. We now look at Alfred Morris, who had 420 yards. He contributed. He started some games as well. He contributed. And then we look at Raheem Mostert, too, who got hurt. Like I said, I think he broke his arm. I think I watched that game, too. I think that was against the Oakland Raiders. He broke his arm. 34 carries, 261 yards, 7.7 yards per carry, and 1 touchdown. So he had pretty decent season for himself as a complimentary back for Matt Brieda. But you guys have to remember, Jerick McKinnon did get hurt in the beginning of the season. Never got his NFL debut. So he is coming back. So we'll see. And he got paid pretty decent money for being, a scat back, sort of. So we'll see what Jerick McKinnon does for the 49ers. But I think Matt Brieda secured his role as the starter there. We look at receiving. For the 49ers, you had George Kittle with 88 receptions, 1,377 yards, a average of 15.6 yards. So that's great for a receiver, whether that be tight end or wide receiver. 15, around that 15 range average per reception is what I want to see from your number one receiver. And then you have 5 touchdowns for George Kittle. So he did very well, especially in those fantasy leagues for you guys. And then the next receiver up, we got Kendrick Bourne, 487 yards and 4 touchdowns. Dante Pettis in his rookie season, 467 yards and 5 touchdowns. So pretty good stats there for the receiver, Dante Pettis. Now we look at the defensive leader. We have Fred Warner, your rookie linebacker, and I think you guys nailed it on the head with Fred Warner at inside linebacker. Great replacement for Navarro Bowman or Patrick Willis. Great job there getting Fred Warner. And he should be he led you guys in tackles, and he was like top 10 in tackles in the NFL. So very good job for you guys. I believe it was top 5 actually. Very good pick for you guys. 85 tackle solo and 1 forced fumble. And now you look at the sacks leader, Deforest Buckner, who remains a very good solid piece for you guys at defensive tackle. 12 sacks. And then for your interceptions, like I mentioned before, Antoine, Exum, 1 interception, along with Jaquiski, Tartt, 1 interception. We now look at your draft class, and listen, I don't think you guys had a very bad draft class. It kind of got weird towards the end, but you guys started off pretty well. You guys went Mike McGlinchey for right tackle. Obviously, you guys have Joe Staley there at left tackle, Mike McGlinchey there at right tackle. But eventually, when Joe Staley is, whether that's to be traded or let go of, because, Joe Staley might be let go of. He's getting older now, and they have their guy, Mike McGlinchey, who has done pretty well for you guys. Just try him out at left tackle and see where you go from there. But, very good pick for the 49ers getting Mike McGlinchey. You got to protect your franchise quarterback, who is like the fourth highest paid quarterback right now in the league in Jimmy Garoppolo. And then you look at your second round pick, Dante Pettis. Yes, he was your second round pick. He should have performed a little bit more, but it is what it is. He still had a decent start, so you'll see what you get from him in the second year. I'm not going to automatically say he's a bust yet, but we'll see what happens from Dante Pettis. Then you look at inside linebacker Fred Warner. He is going to be a star for you guys for years to come. Your third round pick. Very, very good pick for you guys And then Tavarius Moore, don't really know too much about him. Kentavius Street, DJ Reed. You guys try to focus on the defense a lot by getting a safety, defensive end, cornerback, another safety, and then a defensive tackle. But those pretty much didn't really do anything for you guys there. And then you guys got a wide receiver at the end, Richie James, 240th overall. I'm not going to give that draft a very good rating. I'll give it like a C to C minus. It was really your first 3 picks that really saved you guys, but after that, it really wasn't really good for you guys. Besides that, we now look at your free agents for the 49ers. You look at Robbie Gould, he remains one of the better kickers in the league, so I think you should re-sign him. You look at Jimmy Ward, who got hurt. You have to re-sign him. He's probably your best cornerback right now. He is your best cornerback until you can get somebody else in there, maybe a Greedy Williams, second overall. I don't know if you guys want to go that high. Maybe you guys want to go Quinnen Williams or Nick Bosa. That's pretty much your better bet right now, but you do need cornerback help, a lot of cornerback help. So we definitely try to re-sign Jimmy Ward. Long snapper Kyle Nelson, I guess. I don't know. Mike Pearson, go ahead and do that. Alfred Morris, just let him go. He's getting older. He's not. You have other complimentary backs there. You know, you have Jerry McKinnon that's coming back. You have Matt Brieda. If you want to re-sign Mostert or whatever his name is, he's a younger back. Go ahead and try to re-sign him. And you never know what you get from anywhere else if you try to go draft one or whatever. So Alfred Morris really isn't the move for you guys. Don't even worry about Alfred Morris. Next running back up, you have Raheem Mostert whatever it is. Go ahead and try to re-sign him. He played pretty good for you guys before he got hurt, so go ahead and try to re-sign him. Antoine Exum, you should re-sign Antoine Exum. He was your leading interception leader, so just re-sign him because your defense isn't really that good right now. Bradley Pinion, go ahead and re-sign Bradley Pinion, your punter. You know, when he first came into this league, he was one of the better punters in the league, and I think from now on he kind of calmed down a little bit, but definitely just re-sign your punter. And then you have safety Tyvis Powell. I guess you could resign him. Greg Mabin, resign him, get some competition in that cornerback core. And then Elijah Lee at outside linebacker. I don't know too much about him, but I guess resign him. You could resign all your free agents if you wanted to. Let them go if you want. You have $53 million in cap space. As long as you don't give out too crazy big deals, you should still be able to sign some people. And then, so we look at your top 5 needs right now. My top 5 needs, I'm not looking at anybody else right now, but I am going on the free agent tracker right now, trying to give you guys the best bet. We look at your top 5 needs right now, and they're pretty significant. You know, Eric Armstead didn't really do much, and you need some more talent there at defensive end. Solomon Thomas isn't what you thought he would be, so you do need to secure that spot there. You can go Nick Bosa in the draft, or if you want to sign one. The top defensive ends right now, you can get a DeMarcus Lawrence. He is a 4-3 defensive end. Also Ezekiel Ansah as well. DeMarcus Lawrence is probably your best bet. He is 27, so you can keep him around a little longer. Ezekiel Ansah is 30, so you're gonna want to, you know, I don't know what you want to do with him there. But there's that. You do have another need at outside linebacker. You need some other guys besides Fred Warner inside. You need some guys outside as well. You can go Clay Matthews is there, but he's a 3-4 guy. There aren't really too many 4-3 outside linebackers for you guys to grab up. There are that's KJ Wright. If you want to get KJ Wright, he's 30 years old. If you want to grab up Anthony Barr, he's 27. I think Anthony Barr is a better bet for you guys. You guys should go out and try to sign KJ Wright or Anthony Barr. I think Anthony Barr is better for you guys. There's Stephon Anthony. There's Deion Buchanan. So those are you guys for outside linebacker. For wide receivers, let's go to wide receivers real quick. Wide receiver is another big need for you guys. You guys definitely need to find yourself a number 1 wide receiver. Is there a number 1 wide receiver in this free agent class right now? Obviously not. Usually they're signed to big deals, so you're not really going to find one. But you can go after a Dante Moncrief. You can go after a Randall Cobb. A Golden Tate probably will be re-signed at the end of Philadelphia season, so I don't know about that. But everybody else is not really their number 1. There's no wide receivers here for you guys. You can go after a Tyrell Williams from the Chargers, but there's no number 1 wide receivers for you guys. You guys are going to have to try to find one in the draft, try to get that going. But you guys really desperately need a number 1 option at wide receiver. Imagine having a very good tight end and a very good wide receiver. You guys cannot go wrong with that. And then cornerback as well. So let's try to look at some cornerbacks. All right, so the cornerback class here is getting pretty old. A lot of 36-year-olds like Brent Grimes, Kareem Jackson's 31, Buster Screen is 30. I usually like to go when I try to build a team. If I want to build a team, I want to go young free agents. I don't really want to get old free agents unless they're pretty good still, and we're about to make a Super Bowl run, and we could really use their help for a year or two. But when you look at guys that are 32 years old, 36 years old, 31 years old, that's kind of not the option you want to go to. Your team is starting to rebuild, so you want to bring as much young talent as you can. Maybe signing a couple old free agents here and there to be mentors, but you really don't want them to want to put them in those spots to start for you guys or whatever. But you do have some holes at cornerback. You guys can sign Morris Claiborne at 29 years old. You guys can sign E.J. Gaines at 27 years old. Justin Coleman for the Seattle Seahawks. He is not too bad for 26 years old. Jason Verrett from the Los Angeles Chargers at 28 years old. He just got hurt, so you may get him pretty cheap. But you guys do need to try to get Bradley Roby as well. Don't forget about Bradley Roby. You guys can go after him. A couple other guys here. Ronald Darby from Philadelphia. You got Sam Shields. He's 31 years old, though. But you guys can go after some guys there for pretty cheap. So, with that being said, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Any 49ers fans that are watching this video, how do you guys like my recap of your team? Listen, keys to success for your team. You guys are building. You guys are rebuilding. Definitely, I think you're rebuilding because you guys have a lot of guys that are inexperienced. You guys are trying to feel players out and stuff like that. Try to acquire some draft picks. You got $53 million in cap. Go after young free agents. You have to go after young free agents. Don't go after these older people. Unless you got a guy like Ezekiel Ansah, who's 30 years old, and you guys can get still a good couple years out of him, and he's still at a high level, playing at a high level at his older age. But go after these guys that are 26, 27, going in their first free agency, so you guys can keep them for a while. Try to get a great team going, because I don't think you're gonna make the playoffs next year. You might not even make the playoffs the year after that, but if you guys keep the same team that you guys have, and you guys keep playing well and building that team around you guys with the same players, you guys can make a playoff team within the next 3 years and try to go after a Super Bowl ring with Jimmy Garoppolo there. So, you guys have a chance there to do something great, and we'll see if you guys do that. Definitely try to draft well as well. Please draft better than you did for the 49ers. Last year, the draft last year for you guys, it wasn't very good. So definitely try to get another player like a Fred Warner or whatever in the 3rd round or whatever, and you guys should go a long way. All that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.